Hello everyone. It's been a very long time since I made a video, an insanely long time. I'm very sorry to anyone who has sort of held on, stayed subscribed, waiting and wondering where the heck I went. Maybe you've seen me on a couple of scattered interviews on other channels, small projects, but I haven't really made a monologue type video or a social commentary video or even an update video on this channel for a long time. I think the last one I made of that nature was sort of a short walk and talk outside of the property on the gravel road that sort of acts as a trail for us in this new place that we moved into in September of last year. But I've been meaning to show you guys the property, update you, talk to you about all the crazy things going on in the world. I don't even have to say the word. It rhymes with Movid, you know, and Slacksinations. There's a lot to discuss. I don't want to get into any of that right now. And I don't even want to use the words because apparently algorithmically and whatnot, it's just not worth it. People are getting videos deleted and stuff, and I just don't want to get into that today. But all of that aside, although I do want to hear if you had experiences, please tell me in the comments below. I'd love to hear from my long-time subscribers or new subscribers, welcome if you're new, how things have gone for you, how all of this has affected you, whether the pandemic itself or the many government regulations, etc., that have gone with it. I'd love to hear your experiences, but we'll get into that another time. I might do more podcasty stuff on this channel. There's sort of a hole in my life, despite me being glad that I took a break from all this. I miss doing this, so I need to do something, but it might not look like it did before. I'll be doing a lot less production stuff. I was trying to work towards higher production value, all of that, but I'm not going to do that anymore. So I digress. I'm going to show you a little bit of the property, because it's a really peaceful place, and that's part of why I'm making this impromptu video. I didn't actually plan on it, but it's just a really nice night. Sun's going down, so the lighting's not perfect, but it's so beautiful here. It's quiet and calm. So this is our back. We rent at the moment. We have not purchased. We may buy in the future. Back acres, an acre and a half. That's mostly kind of marsh and forest, so we don't use it, but if we did purchase, maybe down the road, we would turn it into a greenhouse type space or build back there, don't know. Way in the back, there's the old wishing well, which has been here since long before we moved on. It's from the original property, I believe. This was all built in the 40s, added on in the 70s. Our landlady's fantastic. Got our fire pit in the back there. I'm not going to go too far. My little hammock, and that's an old well we don't use anymore. That's the back deck, and then sort of our back gardening, cleaning up everything area over there. So I'll walk around the property a bit while I update you guys, and I might stop and show you some things, but I'm going to try to give you in a nutshell without going too far into it, because it's been a really crazy year, but I want to tell you a bit about what's been going on with me. And basically it's been a medical breakthrough, but it took a lot of struggling and suffering and frustration and doubt to get to that point. So as many of you know, I think the last real big update video I did was of July of last year, so 2020. I was looking for a family doctor. I was having a lot of trouble finding someone to hear me out, and I was just seeking someone new. In August, right before we moved, or right after, I can't recall, I did have that prayer answered, and I found not only a good family doctor, but an incredible family doctor that's, it's I can't even get into it. It's so amazing, but it's certainly a miracle and just such a blessing. So he has been figuring things out slowly but surely as I've gone along. And essentially, there's been a large bump above my navel. As many of you know, I suffer from endometriosis. I've had many surgeries. There's been a large bump above my navel for several years, and I've had a lot of nausea, and I've had a lot of problems. Really just, there's been a lot of, oh, it's just endometriosis, oh, it's just this, oh, it's just that, take medication. Nobody really has cared too much. And I've had this bump that has been called scar tissue. It's been checked out by gastroenterologists, by multiple GPs or family doctors, as well as physiotherapists. All have said, oh, it's scar tissue, it's scar tissue. Turns out that it was actually a hernia. Now, that hernia on its own has been largely asymptomatic, so it wasn't the answer to all of my problems, but it did give me the ability to start to look at a new avenue of things, because hernias are not something I had even considered looking into for any of my issues. Pause for some flowers, and just, this is sort of the front area. We don't spend a ton of time out here because we have such a huge space, but this is a shaded area of carriganas, etc. And I'll show you a bit of the front of the house as well. I suppose I have to do this without showing my my address, so I think I can stop right there. And there's a cute little sign on here from the very first guy that built it, who was German, and he built it with all local stuff, and it's called Rendell's Refuge. His last name was Rendell. There's a Canadian flag, which I will probably quickly soon turn into a Saskatchewan flag. Not really happy with Canada right now. That's another story as well. Just not feeling particularly patriotic these days, but I do love my province oh so much. You'll recognize some of the stuff from the last space that we lived. Well, see, it's hiding behind the tree. That this Canadian Legion poppy there, and the angel from my parents' place. Neat there. I'm not sure if you can see it, but we've got a woodpecker. There's actually no doorbell here. That's a woodpecker. It's for knocking, and it actually you pull the string, and its beak hits the wall. It's quite unique. So this is sort of the one half of our deck. It's a very long deck. It's very lopsided. It's an old place. Awesome place. Just love it. Super unique. Some quirks. It's got some quirks. Just gonna have a quick sip of the coffee. And yes, that's a Maverick Party mug. No, I'm not shilling for the Maverick Party. It's actually my husband's, but you know, here's some plants. Here's some plants. Yes, that is a cannabis plant. My husband's been incredible at growing medical cannabis for me. I have my license, yada, yada, yada. But this is a good little garden space here. We had a lot going on. We have some tomatoes. Those are all largely done for the season. Lots of good purchases from Kijiji, that table there. Nothing has changed. We've got hummingbirds, lots of birds here. It's a really, really fantastic spot. So I'm gonna park here and continue from there. So that's it for the tour, by the way. But it's just an amazing spot. I'm so blessed to be here, and it's a great place to heal. So back to all of the health stuff. So turns out that I have had a hernia, para-umbilical hernia above my belly button, confirmed by ultrasound, which got me thinking, just in general. And one day I realized, well, I have this, small lump in my right groin. I hope this isn't TMI for anyone. And it had been told to me in the past that it was a lymph node, swollen lymph node, not sure why it was reactive, but I thought maybe it was worth checking out. So I went to my GP and he said, I think that could be a femoral hernia. Now, I had done some reading about hernias, mostly inguinal. I knew men that had had them, so I did some research when I found that lump and thought maybe it's possible. But what really fascinated me was an article I found in the New York Times from 2011. And it was written mostly by a doctor named Dr. Shirin Tofai. And Dr. Tofai is down in Beverly Hills, California. She's a general surgeon that specializes in hernias, and in particular, occult, hidden, inguinal and femoral hernias in women, in particular, causing severe pelvic pain, often missed, considered to be put under the blanket of endometriosis or whatever else the woman has and has had surgery for. Pelvic floor stuff, it just gets misdiagnosed, it gets ignored, it doesn't show up easily on imaging without a proper MRI diagnosis and a very specific exam. So I looked into this and decided it was worth having an MRI. Thankfully, we have 2 private MRIs in Saskatchewan now that are allowed to operate. You pay through the nose because you're essentially subsidizing someone else and paying a lot to just be allowed to do it. But that's fine. It opens up another position for someone on the waiting list to come in. It's all very good and very noble and humble and Tommy Douglas-esque, and I don't even care. I was just so grateful to have the option to get in a week instead of, months, I'm sure. So had my MRI. It's a 1-hour special MRI done by a certain protocol that she does in Beverly Hills where she works. And the doctor that I originally, we did an ultrasound. My doctor thought it was a femoral hernia. That's the rarest type of hernia that you can kind of have, or one of the rare types. But when it happens in women, it's very, very serious, and you have to have it repaired because it has a high risk of what's called strangulation, which will, in often cases, if you don't know what it is, it's a high death rate. It's very serious. So it has to be fixed in women because of the shape of our pelvic bone or pubic bone. It's not the same as men's. There's a smaller area. There's all these reasons. I'm not going to get into that. It's kind of boring and I could talk forever, although I find it super fascinating as I've learned about it the past few months. So this is all in February. February was when I went to get the ultrasound. The ultrasound tech said, no way you have that, it's too rare. Diagnosed everything is normal. The MRI tech said, no, everything is normal. I almost gave up hope and my husband said, we've come so far. She says that often people miss it on MRI. Send the results down, send your stuff down, get a file going. Pay the $1,000 to get a consult. We'll take the debt on, it doesn't matter. We need to find out what's wrong. And we did that. She read the MRI. Apparently 3/4 of the time these are missed on MRI, 75% error rate. Can you fathom it? And sure enough, I had an inguinal hernia on my left and a femoral hernia on my right. and of course the one above my belly button. And the one on my right was causing almost all of my issues, as well as some major issues which were endometriosis related. So my left ovary and my appendix apparently had to go as well because there was adhesions, it was sticking, everything was in rough shape. So I had surgery. I had surgery June 18th in LA, in Beverly Hills. And how we paid for it, because we're not rich people, it was a miracle. Honestly, it was a miracle. We had cryptocurrency that we thought we had lost, maybe $7,000 Canadian worth. It started with a few $100s that Steve and I had put, or Steve had put in before he met me, and then we might have put another couple hundred in, and then we thought we lost the key. We couldn't get into the wallet. It was 2 years of just sitting there after he lost his laptop. And we were sitting there in November, and I said, I don't know, I just have this feeling. I'd been seeing some stuff about crypto. Are you sure you can't maybe get into that wallet? Maybe there's a way. Maybe if you just pay someone $100 that's super nerdy and techie and loves this stuff, maybe they can get in. And he played with it for 3 days and found some encryption code that he had missed and figured out how to get into it. And by that time it had grown to 10,000, and then it was 11 and 12 and 13. This was right when Bitcoin was rising. And we took that $7,000 and it turned into exactly the amount that we needed to go down to the States and pay for 2 surgeons, a gynecologist trained in Stanford named Dr. Matthew Seidhoff, God bless him, and Sharon Tofai, incredible surgeon, God bless her, incredible nurses, incredible receptionists, just everything was top notch. And we were able to do this. And then basically everything kind of fell again, and we still have a little bit to play with, basically back to where we started, but it was just like manna from heaven to fix this. And suddenly everything over between February and April, I think I was diagnosed in May, we booked surgery for August. I got a little worried because I was really hurting, really suffering. This had been missed for a long time. And it was causing a lot of problems. I won't even get into what I was dealing with, but it was very depressing at times. I was worried this was my life now. I thought it was in my head. I had no validation. You know, you just keep hearing, oh, it's endometriosis. Oh, it's this. That's a terrible disease. And oh, it's chronic pain. And you just feel like you're going crazy, you know, or you worry you're going to be suffering your whole life. And I found this resolution. I sent a message down to the doctor and asked him, because it's a coordinated surgery, hard to put 2 people together in one room at one surgery or one surgical center doing this surgery. And I asked if he by any chance could get me in sooner. And he said, I'll see what I can do. He took it to his schedulers, and the next day I was booked for 2 weeks or 3 weeks from that day. June 18th, we went down. We were in on an exemption. It was extremely disastrous trying to get back, but everything was totally fine getting down there as far as restrictions and testing and everything else. I had to do a lot of PCR tests for the surgery and everything else, but it wasn't as bad as you'd think. And everything that was a difficult procedure was in the Canadian side. I won't even get into that. That is a video all on its own. The government is so inefficient, and it's just appalling that people think that more government means better anything. I can't, even when they mean well, they're so bad at everything. They just make everything they touch just turns into crap. Anyway, so like I said, that's a whole other episode. We can talk about our experience coming back to Canada and how disheartening it was and how disappointing it was. And then coming back to, of course, Canada Day and all the stuff going on with churches burning. There's a lot going on I'd love to speak to. But ultimately, I got to not only go down to California, but one of my subscribers that's been helping me out, did a bit of financial support early on. We've helped each other back and forth, graciously opened his home. Him and his roommate took me and Steve in. We had a beautiful space in the back with like a terrace, open door out into the back with a lounge chair. It was within a lemon orchard in Ventura County, California. I'd never been down there before. Avocado tree, you know, just incredible place. Hummingbirds everywhere, lizards, incredible place to convalesce and quiet. And they fed me, and they were, you know, they're very healthy eaters. So she's all into organic stuff and just fresh fruit and fresh produce. We took the week before and saw a few things, just mostly nature stuff. Yes, we went into Beverly Hills for one of my pre-appointments. People ask what I did there. I went to a thrift store because I forgot to get a couple tank tops or bring them. And I went to the vitamin store to buy lion's mane mushroom. That's basically it. We went down Rodeo Drive and saw rich people. A lot of Botox down there. I don't know what to say. We drove down it and I wasn't thoroughly impressed. That's where all the designer places are, I guess. And I took a picture of someone that I thought looked ridiculously pretentious, and we laughed. I mean, we're such Beverly hillbillies. It's so not the place I would go, but that's just where she was. There's only a few other people in the country of the US that would do this, and she's the best. She's the one that fixed people's mistakes, so that's where we went. Yeah, so we had a place to stay, and he's a patriot. I would love for you guys to show him some support. If you have appreciated me and my work, please take a look at my description and support Hugo. If you're in California, check out an event he's got coming up. He started an organization called EPAC, ensuring the preservation of the Constitution, the American Constitution. Big believer in freedom in the Constitution, and he was the one that put us up and took care of us, and God bless him. He's had it on his heart to help me. He said, blessed are the peacemakers. God has lined up people in my life through all of this. Like, it's just a miracle, you guys. I could talk about it for hours. Every time I retell the story, I get surprised and overwhelmed and emotional because it's such a blessing. It was such a miracle. God has just been so faithful, and I have had so much doubt, and I've really struggled. The recovery's been hard. It's been 5 weeks, which isn't that long, but the hernia surgery itself was supposed to be very quick, and she kind of got me thinking it was going to be quicker, and I got a little worried with pain and stuff, but it's been amazing. And the last couple days, praise God, my pastor prayed with me, and it could be a coincidence, but I don't know. Next day, I started to turn a corner, and that was Thursday and Friday. So I'm doing really well. Things are coming. My husband's doing well. He took me down there, and it's just been an incredible journey. We've been getting closer to God. I've been learning a lot. It's been difficult emotionally, mentally, politically. I am involved only in the sense of discussing values and stuff on Twitter. I'm not politically involved per se. I am going to make a video about the PPC. I'm no longer affiliated with them, but I'd like to discuss what happened with that and how I see things going in the future, but that's separate from this as well. Health. That's what I focused on. Health, family, taking care of ourselves. We might get some chickens. I mean, guys, like, I live here, right? I spend a lot of time laying in the sun, probably darker than you last saw me. I think I have some Italian in my blood. We learned from some DNA profile thing. So maybe that's where that came from, because I'm normally quite fair. And Irish and British, but that was not a British accent. Can you just ignore that? I'm not starting this over. That's embarrassing. I'm all kinds of UK things, but yeah, look at this place. I mean, one more little, this is the view from the deck. I'll let you see that before I go. I'd like you guys to keep me posted. Tell me how you're doing. If I don't respond, it doesn't mean I haven't read what you've wrote. I'm really behind trying to keep up with people that are calling and emailing, people I've met through this process. I'm awful. I'm so behind. I get overwhelmed fast. I turn things off and just lay outside and listen to the birds most of the time. So that's where I'm at, enjoying my community, getting to know people locally. We have really good neighbors, but we have lots of privacy. And we have good internet, so I can make these videos when I decide to, but I don't know how they're gonna look. Expect less production value, more of this authentic stuff, just like when I started. I might have a better mic, but I'm not gonna get into lighting and music and animation. I really wanted to be a perfectionist and get more into that, but it doesn't matter. I see that now. Shout out to Sanity for Sweden, Stefan, who has reminded me, because he has stayed consistent through all the years, and he just continually makes his videos, and people listen to him for his voice and his opinion, not because of its fancy production value. So what is this? 18 minutes and 20 seconds. That's ridiculous. I should probably stop. I never said brevity was my strength. I never said I got better at that over this past year. I trained on Twitter to try to make my points in shorter bouts. Doesn't matter. I'm gonna eat some supper. I hope you guys have a beautiful evening. I hope you're all doing well. Check out Hugo in the description below. Feel free to follow me on Twitter, because I do play around on there, but less and less this last few weeks, because I've been realizing I've wasted my time and used it to push away emotions when I need to deal with them and when I need to be in prayer and meditation. So much love to you all. As always, be good to each other, but not because the government tells you to.